What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pod and Play here on Nerds Gone Rogue. Remember, you can find it every Saturday through the end of May for Season 4. And Ed's joining me again today. We're taking a look at good old Mass Effect Andromeda.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, hi, Ed. We are looking at Mass Effect Andromeda because Anthem is out, and this game got kind of weird stigma around it, and we just kind of wanted to play it and talk about it and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to start a new game here. I haven't played it in a while.
I will say this game is not bad at all. And I think people made it out to seem that, because it was a new Mass Effect, and as in like it was a new story, started new characters, a new universe and everything like that. People expected this game, was it gonna be like the old ones? Was Shepard gonna show up? Were you gonna meet any of the old people from the last cast? And it wasn't that. And then all the bugs and glitches started coming out, and people were making fun of that. But I'm just like going through this game, like it's really good.
I mean, it's not the best Mass Effect, but to me, it's not like the worst Mass Effect either.
Right.
I mean, did you play Mass Effect 1? Like,
okay.
Gameplay wise, don't get me wrong, story was great, but did you play Mass Effect 1?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I didn't mind what I played of this already. So, I mean, I moved on because there were other things last year that kind of took my attention away. But for the most part, it's like this game was really kind of. I mean, it was good. I mean, what I played of it, and now, granted, I played it after a lot of the patches went in and stuff like that. But still, it was like, honestly, I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a fine Mass Effect game, is what it was.
Yeah, I kind of got the deluxe edition like for $40, and now you can probably find it for $10 or $10 depending if you're getting the digital version.
Yeah, I think the what was it, the whatever the deluxe version was on sale for like $12 like 3 times this year already. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And the shooting is not bad. And I know when we talked about this game, we definitely, for me, I said, BioWare didn't know nothing about the Frostbite engine. So now that, so I think they had time to learn it. And so, seeing that, they probably, I think after this game came out, them going into the dark and working on the engine and probably kind of learning things and stuff. I think once they return back to Mass Effect and once they return back to Dragon Age, I think, they're going to do some knockout stuff with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's just sad because like this wasn't the quote unquote real BioWare team. This was the Montreal, BioWare Montreal that did it.
Yes.
And so like there's 2 kind of main BioWare teams in Edmonton, and then the one in Austin is kind of like the secondary team, and then the tertiary team, which was kind of a support studio until this game in Montreal, and they kind of got morphed in with EA Motive, and they kind of shut down the studio, which kind of sucked in all intents and purposes, because like I think that what they did with this game was actually pretty cool. Like they tried some new stuff. I think it worked for them in some ways, and it didn't work in others. And hey, it sucks that they got shut down, but I mean, like, I don't think this game was worth shutting a studio down for, and it got a lot of hate for it, and I still am like boggled by why.
I think it's something about BioWare that fans feel like they own them, and that sounds weird, but I think of like if you look at I think it's like how people complain about the ending of three and how they wanted that change, and how people complained about this game, how they wanted a lot of stuff changed and stuff. People feel like BioWare is, that whatever the fans say BioWare should do if they want to keep them in their good graces. And it, I don't think they need to. I mean, BioWare has a history of making fantastic games. And sometimes not everything's going to be out the gate good or out the gate memorable, but they know how to make great games.
Yeah. I mean, I look. Mass Effect is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. They had original trilogy, right? And you know, people like them for like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age is a they took some weird steps with Dragon Age a couple times, but like it was still like I don't know, man. I don't really know how to explain BioWare because they have so many different projects for so many different people, like I like Knights of the Old Republic and you didn't, right? But I thought Jade Empire was okay, and you really like Jade Empire, and then you get to the Dragon Age and Mass Effect stuff, and now we're moving into Anthem, and it's like BioWare does a lot of different stuff for a lot of different audiences, which is cool. I like that. I really hope that like I really want Anthem to like turn out really good,
Yes.
So, but that's just me.
And I think it will.
Sorry, I'm still creating my character here.
I think they will. I think one thing definitely about this game was that how Sony used it for PS4 Pro, and then after Pro came out, we expected, this might be something exclusive to Sony, like exclusive content or something, and it wasn't, and that was kind of shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean, that first demo, they showed off a bunch of stuff. They showed off some cool stuff with like, Game Informer. Like I think it was the cover story for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. And then, they had a lot of advertising in terms of. I think this game was the main. Wow, that's ugly. This character is like super. I don't really know if I like where it's going, but I'm not keeping her, so it's fine, I guess. But like I have to turn the opacity all the way up so I know what I'm getting into. Ooh, dinosaur scales. That's kind of cool. But this game was the main game to show off the PS4 Pro. Remember during the reveal event?
Yeah.
And like it really, I think a lot of people were kind of like didn't really understand the demo, and that's where it was started to get some of the bad. I don't want to say bad press because that's the wrong words, but it started getting some kind of weird vibe. People started getting weird vibes with it, and so scar tissue. Ooh, no.
And I think that because we didn't really get enough gameplay, we didn't see a lot of this game being done in detail, like nothing was kind of hyping it up. It came, we saw the reveal at the PS4 Pro, and then next thing you know, the game came out.
Yeah, and like it was kind of pushed out of the fall and into the spring, and like they just put it out because they wanted to hit the what do you call it? They wanted to hit the financial quarter, and they've shoved it out, and like what I was reading about, like after this game came out,
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of cool ideas, right? When they were making this game, they kind of made the Andromeda Galaxy, like they had a plan for it. Like obviously the Andromeda Galaxy is kind of mapped out already, with all this real scientific stuff that NASA is doing, and they kind of sort of maybe have it planned out or whatever, like it exists. Like it's you can't just make up the Andromeda Galaxy. It exists. There's planets, there's stars, that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
But what they were doing was they were going to do a No Man's Sky style thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like mathematically they had it where all the planets were where they were supposed to be, but you could go there and discover stuff and kind of build bases and be just kind of like an astronaut on the brink of the galaxy, just exploring this area to bring resources back to the Ark, which is kind of like your home base. And it just backfired because they were using Unreal and they had to port everything over to Frostbite. And it was just not what they wanted it to be. They had 18 months to build this game, pretty much. This version of the game, when they had already been working on another version of the game for like 3 years, right? Because this team is the team that builds the multiplayer aspect of Mass Effect 3. Like, they built the multiplayer aspect of Mass Effect 3, right? And then they turned around and got to make their own game, and then they had to port everything over to Frostbite from Unreal. So that was just a bad move on their part, I think.
It's weird now that I'm thinking about it, that going from Unreal to Frostbite, and then Square Enix going to their engine, I think the Luminous engine, to Unreal Engine 4 for Kingdom Hearts, and I think Final Fantasy 15. No, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, well, the thing is like they were planning on moving assets from Final Fantasy 15 into Unreal, but that project was so far along already that they just stuck with it, and now they're using Unreal for everything.
And it's very weird because their Luminous engine is beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing looking, but it's also like extremely difficult to use. They found out, they made, because like they wanted something that would look beautiful and scale well, which it did, but it was also very bad to develop for. Like it turns out when you develop an open world game for something that's not built for an open world, bad things happen, aka Frostbite.
Oh, true. Very, very true. I just feel that, like with Square Enix building that engine, I'm just like, I wonder what they could have done, because that trailer that they showed for that Final Fantasy game, or to show off the engine, I was just like, oh, this looks so beautiful, like this looks nice. And then, nothing against Unreal Engine 4, but when Epic showed it, I'm like, this engine looks like a joke.
Well, when look, the big thing is like, yeah, well, when Unreal Engine 4 first started, it was kind of like a lot of people were like, why would you move away from 3? 3 looks so much better. And the big thing that everybody pointed to was, why does the PS3 and 360 version of Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City look so much better than the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game? And it's because they moved everything over to Unreal 4, and it literally cleaned everything up. Like, it made everything look plastic instead of, in the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions of those games, everything had this real kind of gritty texture to it.
Yeah.
Like, the world felt lived in, the characters felt, used, and like they felt like real. And then when you moved it over to Unreal Engine 4, it felt like plastic. And so, like, obviously, Unreal Engine 4 has gotten better. We look at Gears 4, which looks amazing.
Yes.
Gears 5 looks really, really awesome. Hellblade uses a version of Unreal, and we saw what they were doing with that and how great that game looks. But then it can also do things like Fortnite. So, it's become a very versatile engine, but at the time, I think this team was using Unreal Engine 3, and then they moved everything to Frostbite, which, don't get me wrong, Frostbite is a good-looking engine, but it's built for games like Battlefield. It wasn't originally intended to be used for sports games and open-world RPGs, for example. So now, they've kind of tweaked it, and they're on Frostbite 3, which has been tweaked to, hopefully, we see what Anthem looks like, and Anthem looks amazing. The javelins look really cool. The facial animations look great. The open world looks disgustingly gorgeous.
Yes.
So,
and that's the thing that I have with Frostbite is that it makes the environments and buildings and effects and stuff look great, but when it comes to gameplay, it's terrible.
Well,
and it's just
terrible is a strong word. I think there's better engines that do first-person shooting, right? That's like the main thing we're talking about here. Like the Titanfall engine, right?
Yes.
Whatever they're running on, and that I think they're running on upgraded id Tech, which is what Call of Duty also runs on. So Titanfall, Call of Duty, even I would say Bungie's tried and true engine runs first person shooting better than Frostbite, at least on consoles.
Yes.
A lot of people prefer Battlefield on PC, which a lot of people do, but to me, I don't really think Battlefield and Battlefront play that well. I've played a lot of Battlefront 1 and enough Battlefront 2 to say, yep, this feels like Battlefront 1, and it just doesn't feel great, So, and even playing Mass Effect for a while, I was like, the exploration and stuff is fun, but the shooting doesn't feel great. It's never really felt fantastic in Mass Effect, but
Yeah. And I think that's when I looked at Warfighter, the Medal of Honor Warfighter, and every time I looked at the world, I'm just like, if this is running on the old version of Frostbite, because like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, I believe that's DICE's engine, that's Frostbite. I looked at it, I'm like, these games look terrible. I'm like, okay, yeah, the building for them looks cool, but like, maybe because it's on PS3, and I was just like, this doesn't look impressive. This gameplay doesn't look. It's kind of like, oh goodness, this is problematic, and it felt like that they focused more on doing the environments than they did for the gameplay. And when you look at Mass Effect Andromeda, the gameplay is solid. The gameplay is not bad. The world doesn't look bad, but it just could have been more done.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think part of that too is like they didn't have the time to polish it like they wanted to.
Yes.
Right? Like they didn't have the time, which now we're watching. Like I'm in the middle of a cutscene here, and I think the ship and the universe and stuff look fantastic, but the character models are kind of like they're not.
They don't have any detail to them.
Well, that plus like they don't feel finished, and that was like the big thing with when this game came out. People were like, man, a lot of people were like, Mass Effect 2 and 3's character models look better than the character models in this game. And I'm not trying to like say that that's for certain or anything, and I know a lot of things went into this game, and I feel really bad for the team that they didn't really get to build the game they wanted. But if we're talking about character models and stuff like that, like I'm trying to be critical without being meme, I guess is what I'm trying to do.
You heard him. Let's get.
But you know, they especially the characters that aren't in your party, like if they're NPCs that aren't in your party, like they look unfinished, right? And that was the big issue. And we see games now that make this game already look dated. Like you look at, you know, Final Fantasy 15 looks better, Horizon looks infinitely better, God of War looks infinitely better. You know, there are teams with money and the time that they were able to put into the game, into their games, you know, which the games look better. Now, not using Frostbite, but they're still using a proprietary engine, which Frostbite is EA's proprietary engine.
Yes.
And they're getting a lot more out of the engines than this game does. And again, I know there's a lot going on in this game, but like within the game in general, like generating a galaxy is not easy. But you know, it is what it is, and this is the product we got, and I'm glad I didn't buy it right away. I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad I waited for a sale. I think I paid like $25 for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, with me getting it, like I guess not the ultimate edition to it, but I'm like, having like this deluxe edition for like $45 and stuff. It's just like, well, to me, it was kind of worth it. And I was in the mood of, I'm like, I knew I was going to get this game, but I kind of wanted to wait because like me and you, Corey, we sometimes have different games come up and we want to play them. And we have to put our focus on there. So I kind of waited for this one too. And I felt like when I played it, when everybody got their opinions and stuff out about it, you know, I was able to go in with a fresh perspective to be like, you know what, I'm just going to play this and see what it has to offer. And I feel like I got my $45 worth of it because I'm like, it's a long campaign. The fights are good. It just felt really just very well. Now I can see the jumping that's in this game. I'm just like, they probably approved this and Anthem. So it's going to be very interesting what BioWare is going to do in the future for it's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do in the future with this engine. Like, will it actually be BioWare that pushes Frostbite, or would DICE be pushing Frostbite? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they want to use Frostbite, because if the whole company is using the same engine, right? Mm-hmm. They can utilize resources easier to help people. You know, that's why a lot of Microsoft, besides Halo, I think, and we know Halo's not using the Unreal, but in Playground and Turn 10 are using their proprietary engine for Forza. But you know, besides them, a lot of the teams are using Unreal because, you know, it works for them and the stuff they want to do, you know?
Right.
You know, I think, plus it's like easy to use a lot of proprietary tech other than engine stuff in Unreal. It's easy to like import physics engines. Well, I shouldn't say easy, but you can put in physics engines and better scripting and that kind of stuff. You can kind of formulate it to do what you want it to do, right? And
yes,
that's also why, you know, Unreal is becoming bigger, because they're able to do more support with it on the Unreal, on the Epic side, because Fortnite's so big. You know, and they're able to have a big engineering team to solve issues before they send it out to the public, you know?
Yes.
What's our position?
But I kind of want to see, because we seen Nintendo use Unreal Engine for Breath of the Wild.
No, they did not use Unreal for Breath of the Wild.
I thought they did.
No. No. The only engine, the only time Nintendo internally has used Unreal Engine was for Mario Run.
Oh, I thought they did Unreal Engine for Breath of the Wild.
No. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I'm gonna cutscene, but I know Nintendo uses their own proprietary stuff most of the time.
Because they was using the physics stuff, like for the physics and everything.
Hold on, wait. Sorry, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm trying to look this up and have a conversation at the same time.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a cutscene. I'm about to get into a fight.
She is the captain. I think she gets the final word. Well, he might.
This isn't about having the final word.
Yes.
This is one thing BioWare is good at. Their art team is fantastic.
Oh, well, okay. This article from Polygon says Nintendo does use Unreal, but it doesn't say what games it's using.
That's Habitat 7.
Using it for.
If we're lucky.
I think they just used the Unreal for Breath of the Wild. I think everything else they've been using for themselves.
Well, now this is bothering me because there's a whole article with Onuma and Miyamoto saying how easy the Unreal Engine is to use. So now I'm like,
we don't know how bad it is yet. Still seems like it's our best shot. Maybe. There's just a lot on the line.
well,
Sam?
okay. I don't know. I don't know what
they-
engine Zelda's using, but it says Nintendo uses Unreal for most of their games now.
We're marooned.
So I guess I was wrong.
20,000 souls
I saw
adrift at
3
sea.
different websites say it.
And when the power
So
runs out,
Well,
2 of them being
know.
Polygon and IGN. So I
we
mean,
need to know if that's safe.
as much as I don't really care for Polygon,
And if it's not,
it's not like when they
As
report
Pathfinder, it'll be
facts,
my
it's
job
not
to
like
find
it's
an
wrong.
alternative. It's what we trained for.
Well, I know because they was using the Unreal Engine for. I think they was using it to do the physics.
all right.
You know,
Just make it
and they I guess, and then they always use another engine.
Well, I know they use the Havoc physics engine, which is
Yes.
easy for Unreal to use. Like they kind
Struggling, isn't he?
of work hand in hand. So
Yep.
Still
Havoc
runs in
is
the
like
family.
in a Havoc
They're
and
rough
is
on
it
him.
soft gen or something like
Just as long
that?
as he knows what he's doing.
something like that.
It's not like the campus
Yeah,
is
there's
gonna
one of
save
them
the day.
like it's like middleware. That's
I need an ETA
that
on
a lot of
sensor
companies
repairs.
use.
We're blind out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's been using Havoc forever because I know
Yeah.
that's the main physics engine for Smash. You know, they've been using that since N64, and I know Microsoft uses Havoc because Crackdown and Halo use it,
My brother's
and
gonna
I'm
hate
sure
us this.
I'm sure
Are all
the
the
Coalition
writers
uses it for
adrenaline
Gears
junkies?
now. So,
I guess it's in our blood.
man, this texture popping for
born a
this
minute ahead of
this
him.
game is not great.
I'll never let him forget it. Don't worry. I'm sure Scott will pull through.
So,
Yeah. and
I
when
don't.
he
I
does,
I
you wanna
just.
hear stories.
I really wanted this game to be good, and those first screenshots they were throwing out there with the,
Right. You'll want to get your helmet.
you know, with
Maybe stop
with
the good luck rock before we go.
the Unreal Engine when they were showing off the N7 armor for the first time, like that was really good, you know.
Yes.
Oh, it was so good.
I've opened the armaments locker.
Can we
I
expect
got
some
my
trouble,
helmet.
Sam?
A precaution, please.
It's
arm
very
yourself
weird. We barely talk about engines, about video games, and I think
Good
it's
luck,
like
huh?
you definitely have to be a tech wizard to understand a lot about engines being used in games and what they do and stuff and how they affect the processing power of a system. You know, we got PS5 and the next Xbox coming, and so we're going to see what is, you know, when companies are using Unreal Engine for. Because I think Unreal Engine 5 probably won't be ready for the next 5 more years.
Well, I think as long as Fortnite is where it's at, I don't think Unreal Engine 4 is going anywhere. You know,
Yeah.
just because that game is so big and it's going to be big for a long time. That I think a lot of people questioned why they moved to Unreal Engine 3 for a long, or moved from 3 to 4 for a long time, because 3 was so versatile and able to do a lot, and then they moved to 4. So, but I mean, obviously they knew what they were doing. But
you got a quote ready? One small step.
I'm pretty sure your dad.
man, I still haven't really even played the game yet. I'm still in like all these cutscenes and stuff.
We leave in 5.
Sir, we broke out the weapons as requested. Anything we should know about?
Seem prudent given the situation. We'll be down a man with.
It's so weird when you're doing because this game
You'll make it.
you could just hide behind something and they'll do auto cover. And just so when you're used to pressing the button to cover, you just be like, where's the cover thing? Where's the cover button at?
600-year nap and he oversleeps.
You know him. Never was an early riser.
Man.
Just don't let it get to you.
But that actually brings me to
Yes,
the
sir.
next kind of topic.
Your mom would have been proud.
I want to talk about Anthem, but we haven't because we're recording this so early. We haven't gotten to play
team,
Anthem
listen
yet.
up. I
Yes.
chose
And
each of you for the Pathfinder
I
team,
kinda
just because you're talented and
want
passionate,
I want Anthem to be amazing.
because you're dreamers.
By the way, if you're watching this,
We
check out
dream
Javelins
of
for
exploring
Hire,
the unknown,
our Anthem podcast.
finding the edge of the map.
But Anthem is obviously BioWare's next big thing.
Discovering what lies beyond.
They've done great games like
When people look back
Knights of
on
the
this,
Republic,
and they will,
Jade Empire,
they'll remember we
Baldur's
didn't give
Gate,
up.
Mass Effect,
We kept
Dragon
dreaming.
Age, and
That
now
our first few faltering
this
steps in Andromeda
Anthem. So
were the beginning
uh,
of everything.
Anthem looks cool. I
only get one chance
I
to
like
be
the
first.
suits. Jesse and I just talked about all
So,
the abilities and
let's go make
stuff on the
history.
suits. What are you excited for Anthem? Like, are you like, what's your like hype level for Anthem right now?
It's my must-have game of 2019. It's actually my first one. And I'm very excited because I seen seeing the world on how it looks very detailed. I was kind of blown away from the trailer, and coming from BioWare, it's just I want. What makes me happy and excited is just you guys learned the engine. You hopefully you guys took time to learn the engine and is ready to deliver us some good, story moments, battle moments, controls and everything. But it's gonna be one of those. I feel like it's gonna be one of those games that what we try to accomplish in Mass Effect, we accomplish in Anthem, and then more. So we guys want to give you our vision and our creativity that some of you feel like we don't have. And I love kind of playing a little bit action games and shooters, like Anthem, like with the Division 2. The Division 2, the Division, stuff like that. I love playing. And I kind of just need a new RPG, in a sense, a gun-filled RPG.
Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, is it going to do it for you?
Tales will.
I'm just kidding.
Tales will, but shoot, I still need to finish a lot of the Tales that's on PS4 that I have. But it's something that's gonna be what, BioWare, I respect you for what you did with Star Wars. I enjoyed J Empire, and I need to pop it in and replay that game.
Backwards compatible on Xbox One.
I know, and I haven't even started it yet. I had opinions about you as a company because I did not like BioWare. With some of their gameplay, but Mass Effect, the whole trilogy,
the big thing. I was before you get into Mass Effect, the big thing I think why a lot people didn't really care for their gameplay is they were primarily PC developers, and when they used RPGs, or when they made RPGs, they were they used old school kind of almost Dungeons and Dragons style gameplay model, and then you would like set up your moves. Like you were able to like walk around the stage, right? But like you would set up your moves, and then your character would perform them in the order. It was like a turn-based battle system where you could move around the area, right? And so yeah, that was the interesting thing about, Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire, and then they kind of moved away from that with Dragon Age and Mass Effect. So
yeah, and that might have been one of the reasons for my hate for it. But it was just like I was talking to my friend about Mass Effect, the whole trilogy, and because by the time I got a PS3, all 3 games were out, and so I had bought the Mass Effect trilogy, and I was just sucked in. I was just like, oh my goodness, these games are so good, the story, this detail, these characters, and I'm just like, I love it when I get hooked like this. I was getting home off of work, and my thing was just like, I want to focus on this game, and that's what I did. I focused a lot on that game.
yeah.
I don't know.
Need to hide.
It was all a blur.
Man, Mass Effect 1 story is amazing. Saren is such an amazing villain.
Yeah.
Such a cool story, man.
Yeah.
If they would just put Mass Effect 2 and 3's gunplay in Mass Effect 1, top 5 game of all time.
Of course.
Easily.
And I think that's why I feel like Mass Effect 1 needs a remake or a remaster or something.
Yeah. I think, if they would just kind of...
I've seen my share of trouble.
That game would be so hard to kind of like redo at this point, though. I mean, unless you like really put the effort into it.
Yeah.
Anything down here? Nope. Finally playing. Oh yeah, I forgot you got jetpacks.
Some of these plants look like tentacles.
Awesome.
Water here even water?
I guess that's low ammo.
No fixing this. Must
Man.
have broken on impact.
All right, so
Explains why we lost our
Yes, but my hype level for Anthem is like
And safety tip?
it probably would have been one of the must where if a Nintendo game, a big Nintendo game came out, I probably wouldn't have got it because I had to get Anthem.
yeah.
And like I am getting Crackdown and stuff, but it's just like
Damaged in the crash. No good to us now.
it's just that Anthem is a big deal, and definitely like with you guys playing it, with me playing it, whether it's squad goals or X plays or what we do individually, I mean it's going to be a huge game, and whether it succeeds or not, I think I'm going to be like, well, I'm enjoying it for what it is, and I'm like, I get to explore this world, I get to do the side quests, and I feel like if I'm finding new stuff and the systems are not problematic, that like they're easy to understand, then I'm definitely going to be happy, and definitely it's going to be one of those games that this is great and fun. It's also a research game, where if anything, Bungie should research it, or Nintendo should research it and stuff. Like there's something
Sam said it's dark
about
energy,
it
but
that's
that's
going to
in
just
space.
be like,
Hell of a cloud.
did I get it?
Cloud that makes boulders
There's going to be
float.
something about it that they're going to do some great things in it, or they're going to do some bad things in it. Like it's not going to work out. And I think I was telling you and Jesse, I'm just like, I hope this is a 60-hour game, just out of the bat. 35 to 40 hours for the game, for the main campaign stuff, but some really intricate and really fun-filled side missions. Because that's going to really sell most of Anthem to me. It's just like, if you have a lot of side missions that I could just that's gonna keep me involved playing for like 3 or 4 months after the game comes out, even before any DLC. That is what's gonna be like, okay, this is why I love this game.
It's busted anyway.
Yeah, and if anything, we were talking about Bungie recently, kind of divorced themselves from Activision, and
Yes.
we don't really know why yet as of this recording. But that to me, that tells me that they wanna really kind of forge their own path. But in doing so, they need to, like, now that they're not on a release schedule of crazy expansions or new game every year, right? This gives them the time to say, okay, look, we need to kind of. What's this? What are you? Can I scan you? Can I not scan you? Why can't I scan you? It really kind of it makes me want them to kind of take almost take a year off in terms of expansions or whatever. Like, have a live team that keeps doing Iron Banner and trials and weekly events and that kind of stuff, but like take a year off from the yearly expansions. Like, maybe look at this, maybe look at Anthem, maybe look at the Division 2, look at what they're doing, take a look at what Fortnite's doing, even with like season passes and whatnot. And like, I think if Bungie was just like, hey, every 2 months we're gonna have a new event, you pay like like Fortnite does, where you buy a pass for cosmetic stuff, and I know that Destiny's a completely different type of animal, but like, if you could figure out a way to use that business model instead of like
Yeah.
paying $70 or $80 every year, like for them to fund new events every couple months, like that would be super cool.
With Destiny, I feel like and people are gonna probably hear a lot of us talking about Destiny, Anthem, and the season of Final Play, but these are two big games, two big IPs,
and presumably two games that I definitely still enjoy playing Destiny, and we actually started a Destiny podcast because of what we think of Destiny and what we think it should be, and Tower Casuals, by the way, if you want to download it, you can check it out.
And I can admit, I enjoy Destiny 2. I'm by the time you guys hear this, I'll probably be done with Destiny 1 because I'm going through that whole game. But I'm just like, the demo Destiny 2 sold me, and I was just like, what they did with this is what I wish Destiny 1 was. There's still some problems there, here and there, but they fixed up a lot of my my criticisms that I have. And so when it gets to Destiny 3, because I feel like this year should be the last year for any content for Destiny 2. I don't think Destiny 2 needs any more content, because definitely with Bungie going on their own, and definitely having to do some game with that one Japanese company that invested in them and stuff, I think they need to just like fall back, get a story together that's going to, really, remind folks like what Destiny and Destiny 2 is about. Like, get that all connected, and then start working on Destiny 3, planning out if we should do where it's not only first person, but should we add like a third person perspective, like over the shoulder or something?
Yeah, because that was originally supposed to be third person. It was supposed to be like Mass Effect, where you could see your Guardian running around and kind of doing things. And in terms of what Activision wants, first person shooters sell better, in all intents and purposes, unless you're like Gears, which sells great, or the Division proved that you could sell third-person shooters as well, but first-person shooters sell better. And if you stage a game as a first-person shooter, even if it's not really a first-person shooter like Destiny, I mean, it is.
Yeah.
The mechanics are clearly first-person shooter, but like, It's an RPG,
Can you move?
and if you stage it like a first-person shooter instead of an RPG, you're gonna sell more copies.
And you know what the odd thing for me is like when I did a criticism or I did a journal for Destiny 1, and I was just like, the shooting is whatever, but I love the melee combat. And I was just like, it's weird to see Bungie. I'm like, you guys could make an action style game or even an action game. Like, I could see them doing Uncharted, or I could see them doing a role playing game that's Ninja Gaiden esque, I should say, and like it being really enjoyable because I'm like, I think it's just like if Bungie made something like Darksiders,
Right.
Well,
I
they-
would buy it day. I would buy it day one because I'm
Well,
like,
they tried that once. It was called Oni, and Rockstar published it. You remember that? Remember that PS2 game?
yeah.
Oni? Man,
But
what a weird combination that was. A third-person action game by Bungie, published by Rockstar.
But you know, I think now because of Destiny, like I will play. I think they have better. I think now they're able to make it because they have a better team and better tech, and I think they understand the gameplay mechanics now. I would play something like that. I would play a stylized action game from Bungie because that was the best parts in Destiny 1 to me. It's like when I bust up with my sword, or even in Destiny 2 when I had the bow and stuff, and I was just going to third person and just running around hitting them with the stuff, and I was just like, oh, this feels so good. It just felt perfect. It just worked, and I was just like, I really wish that this could be a game by itself, or they have more missions where it puts you in third person and you did action sequencing. So I really hope that Bungie themselves like really take time off and really just. So there's an episode of Tower Casual where I mentioned to Corey and Jesse saying that if they could do like a small IP for a new engine, will we play the game? And Corey came up with a great answer, a great response, like a 3-level demo of Destiny 3 or something to run just that engine and stuff. Like I would be down for it. I kind of felt like, and taking Jesse's idea also, just them doing something completely new in a different genre. I feel like if they're gonna bring out just a new engine and stuff, definitely yes, use both of those ideas. Make something new that could be an example of what a Destiny 3 could look like. Oh, I failed. I didn't even know that. What a Destiny 3 could be, or just something like really short, something very indie, just to show it off and stuff.
Yeah, and like what we were talking about, like if they were to do Destiny 3, I mean, I think all signs point to them doing Destiny 3. But I also think it's like, now that they're divorced from Activision, I also think Destiny 3 is about at least 2 or 3 years away. Right, I still think 2022. Once the new consoles have a footing in households, I truly think they're gonna wait and release Destiny 3 on the new consoles only, right? And so
yes. And I think that's what BioWare kind of did at the Mass Effect Andromeda. They did their patches, they got the feedback, and I really think they took time. I think they took hopefully they took a 4-month break. Like they just was able to rest, relax, get their minds right, because like everybody in the team on that team worked really hard, and to get the negative feedback that they received was probably hurting them too. So I feel like they probably took some time off, regrouped, took their vacations, got their family together, talked as a team, worked stuff out. Probably they were, people were probably drawing, doing art, pretty, coming up with ideas. And then I think they were just like, okay, team, let's take some time and learn this Frostbite engine. What do we know from Mass Effect Andromeda that worked, what didn't work, and what could we learn to improve? And they went in. We didn't get anything from them, which is sad. But I think they probably just like from ground zero. What we learned, what we could use with input, and what we could learn and improve on is what we're gonna really showcase and add to this game for Anthem. And I think Bioware went in with knowing that and just like, hey, let's give it our all and let's really focus and let's learn and do whatever we need to do. And I honestly think that's what Bungie needs to do. It's just like, once they get done, once I say get done with this content for this year, when it gets close to August or September, shut it down.
Well, I think.
Thank you everybody for supporting Destiny 2.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think what they're doing with Destiny 2 now is actually, and we're gonna wrap it up here because we're hitting that hour mark, pretty fast. But what they're doing with Destiny 2 now with the Forge and kind of like releasing weekly content and kind of like building out the PvP style stuff instead of or not PvP but like PvE style stuff without a campaign is kind of like what the future of Destiny 2 is going to be right now. We're like, hey, you bought this annual pass, we're going to put out some smaller content every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. And that's what I think Destiny 2 is going to be until Destiny 3 comes out. Do I want another Forsaken style expansion? Of course I do. Like I thought Forsaken was a great campaign, added a lot to the lore, it added a lot to, Destiny's kind of overall storytelling, and I actually thought it was the first time Destiny had a cohesive end-to-end story. Because Destiny 1's campaigns were
let's hope no one's home.
mediocre at its best with Taken King, and just awful with Destiny 1. Which, by the way, I went back and watched the Destiny 1 launch trailer.
Yeah,
dude, or not launch trailer, but like it must have been E3 2012 because I think the game came out in 2013. So.
Because it was at
the.
It was at PlayStation 3, PlayStation reveal.
No, it had to be 2012 because the game came out in 2013 for 360 and PS3. It had to be 2012 because it was the year before. And that they did the whole kind of opening mission, which you can't do with friends, and they had like a whole different opening cinematic. And like you're able to fly in and kind of start the mission, but then call your friends in to play the mission with you, and it was just like, man, where was this Destiny? Like, I thought whatever they were doing there was really cool, and like that wasn't the Destiny we got. And I think because we were talking as of this recording, we were talking last night on Tower Casuals. Like, I couldn't really remember when or how I got excited for Destiny, except for the fact that I was excited to play Destiny, right? Because it was the next major IP from Halo, and I loved Halo. I still love Halo, but and the fact that they were working on that was like, man, this is going to be awesome. Another shooter from like a multiplayer kind of centric shooter from the Halo creators. And we got there, and it was like, what's happening? Like, I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that vanilla campaign, except for the fact that there were characters in that campaign that we have not seen since, and it doesn't look like any of them are coming back.
Was it was at E3, right, that they revealed it?
Yeah, I'll send you a link to that trailer.
Yeah, I want to watch it because
it wasn't even a trailer. It was like a 15-minute demo of the original first level, like the first level of Destiny.
Because I think the first time Destiny was revealed, I think you're talking about more of the gameplay, right? Of it. No,
I'm talking about the story. Like they showed the whole first level in the story, and just like how you were able to, and from the get-go, play with your friends and just play, and
I think for me, it's just that when they revealed that big planet and stuff, and it just said from Destiny and it was Bungie. I think that was the only time that I seen anything about that game. So the trailer that you looked at and stuff, I've never seen.
Yeah, I'll send you the link after we're done
Yeah.
recording here. But like, you know, that was such a cool, like, it was such a cool experience, like, that they were having, and I'm like, man, like, that's like, we eventually got that level, and we got that, you know, kind of experience with Rise of Iron in a totally different way. But man, dude, like, that, if that was Destiny at the beginning, I was just like, man, why couldn't we have had that? And they were like
Path down on the right.
battling through the wall, and like, because you know that first mission in the original Destiny, when you're kind of like walking through the wall and you go into old Russia for the first time,
Yeah.
to find your ship to fly back. Well, they flew into the first level on their ship and were fighting through the wall to take back over old Russia to establish the city, instead of it already being established when you get there. And you, like, you know, because that first level is all about your ghost finding its guardian, right, which is you, and you fighting through the wall to find a ship to get to the city to, you know, get acclimated to the game. So
Oh wow. Yeah.
but it was
I've
so
never seen
different,
it.
and like, you flew in, and they were like, okay, let's bring in our fire team, and they flew someone in, right? They flew in their friend to play with them. And then it was just them two fighting through the wall. And then after they fought through the wall, where you go through, and you know, that first part where you get through the wall before you go into the second building to get your ship, like, where you kind of fight those enemies that just kind of run up on you and whatever. There's a third guy there fighting a walker, one of those walkers, and like instantly just joined the fire team. And they were in a 3-man fire team fighting this walker inside the wall, and it was cool. I'm like, man, this is a cool first mission.
Why did I never see this?
It was way back in like 2012, man. It was really something cool to watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this. That sounds nice, dude. That's what I'm just like.
Which, you know,
I've never heard of it.
in Rise of Iron, we eventually got that. You know, there was the Kvostov auto rifle. You know, it's literally the first gun you get in vanilla Destiny. Well, they redid that first mission, like the way they showed it in the trailer, where you had to find the pieces to the Kvostov and you put it together, and that whole first mission is you battling through the wall to find the pieces of the Kvostov, which in Rise of Iron turned into an exotic version of that very first weapon you pick up in Destiny, which was kind of like a cool little touch. But it was just like, man,
Wow.
whoa, hey, this guy just kind of flew up on me. Hey, dude. I need cover. Bad.
Oh wow. I don't know. How did I miss that?
Yeah. But Ed, we're coming up on that hour mark. Any final thoughts on? I'm sure on the next episode we will talk a little bit more about this Destiny trailer. But any final thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda or Anthem before we get out of here?
Everybody, I do recommend picking up Mass Effect Andromeda. If you on the Xbox One or PlayStation 4, I think it's worth whatever price it is right now.
I'm sure it's $8 or $12 on your platform of choice, and it's in, if you have EA access or Origin access, it's in the vault. It's in the vault, so you'll be able to play it that way as well.
And like, really spend some time about it. Make some great choices or bad choices. Do what you need to do. But I'm like, really, like, I think BioWare did a fantastic job, and I think Anthem is going to be a big improvement. By the time it is, we'll have our thoughts out, so yeah, you guys could check out the podcast about it, and definitely we'll be talking more about it. You know, Corey and Jesse will talk about it on Javelins for Hire. We'll definitely have some discussions about it on Arsenal X. But yeah, well, for Mass Effect Andromeda, I can't wait to see what the next Mass Effect is going to be, and I can't wait to, like, kind of like I may like literally like replay this game and try to get all the achievements and stuff, and because I feel like that I may have missed some stuff, and I want to kind of want to play it now. But that's all I have.
Yeah, I'm sure. Honestly, what I would like to do at some point, which I don't know if we'll ever have time to, but for Tower Casuals, what I want to do is play through the entirety of the campaigns for all of Destiny 1 and all of Destiny 2, and kind of talk and do like a whole, almost like a pod and play session, right? But through the through the whole game, through all the campaigns. And you know, if we got to do it at some point this year, because I don't know if especially for Destiny 1, I don't know if the strikes are still up. I don't know what content they kind of left in and haven't updated, you know? Like, I know the strikes are still there. I know the raids are still there. But, like, they definitely don't do Iron Banner or Trials or anything, you know, event-wise anymore. But I do know that the old content is still there. And so I would really like to maybe try that stuff with you.
Yes.
And maybe pull Jesse in on it too. You know, I don't know what his free time looks like, and you know, that kind of stuff. But I would really like to at least play through and kind of really assess what not just have content on the channel, but really just kind of dive in and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're playing through the game's campaigns, and you know, I wish we had a fire team to do all the raids and stuff too, but I know we're not going to have that stuff. But we can kind of talk through them and kind of revisit those areas and whatnot. So
yeah,
you know, and I know the campaigns aren't really the real kind of staying point of Destiny, but we'll at least be able to kind of go through the story and talk about the characters and everything. So plus, like, I really want to get through the Forsaken stuff on my Xbox characters, which we'll be able to do later down the road.
I need to buy the DLC. I'll do it soon.
You know, and I also want to, like, in between those areas, I'm gonna like write scripts about, because the raids are the kind of endpoints of the stories for Destiny. You know, like the Vault of Glass is the end story for the Vanilla. Crota's End is the end story for Dark Below, that kind of stuff, you know, and I think it would be really fun to go back in and do all that stuff, which we could actually do, like Skolas and the Prison of Elders stuff too, you know, because we'll be powerful enough to do that.
Yes,
but you know, we can talk about that at a different time. We're gonna wrap up this episode. I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. Hopefully you like what you saw in Mass Effect. It is a Mass Effect game. It plays well. I like the jetpack stuff. I like the kind of dodge mechanics too. But you can find Pod and Play every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, running through the end of May. Check out our other episodes and our other seasons on demand now. This is Season 4, so there are 3 other seasons for you to catch up on if you haven't already. If you like what you see today, or if you like any of the other episodes, subscribe to Nerds Gone Rogue and catch all of our content on ngrradio.com. Download our series of podcasts, including Nerds Gone Rogue, Nintendo Pal Block, our Nintendo podcast, Arsenal X, our Xbox show, Nerds Gone Platinum, our PlayStation show, the B-Sides, which is various interviews, movie commentaries, fun little side projects that we do, that kind of stuff. Also, check out Javelins for Hire, our Anthem podcast, Dark Zone Junkies, our Division podcast, and Tower Casuals, our Destiny podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.
Bye, everybody.
It's not any better on the ground.